Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And it's our News Watch unit for the month of February. It's also our all-English lecture, so we're giving the Chinese teacher the day off today.
Nice.
And you're on your own out there. You cannot rely on the crutch of the Chinese teacher to get you through today's lesson. We will be speaking entirely in the American variety of English. And we're talking about some news stories that have been in the news recently. There seems to be a fuel crisis in the UK. I think there's a fuel crisis all over the world. Prices are going up. And then, of course, we've got a story about the benefits of eating fruit every day. It can actually help you be more intelligent.
Ooh, that's what I need. I like that. I'm not surprised. I think more and more in modern times, people are eating packaged food, It's got a lot of chemicals in it. So I think we all need to get back into eating just real food. Some of the non-GMO food. I know that's a big deal to a lot of my Taiwanese friends here. But our first story is about the fuel crisis in England. We're going to talk about Britain's fuel crisis. As we always do, guys, we're going to read through both stories, and then we'll be back. Tom and I will try to talk a little bit more clearly, a little more slowly, and no Chinese, Tom.
Okay, can I speak other languages?
No.
It does say all English lecture,
all
so
English.
you can't sneak in French
no
or
Espanol,
German or Spanish or
Spanish,
Japanese or whatever. So, we'll get to it here. We'll handle this entirely in English, so let's get to it. Let's read through the entire contents of our lesson now, one time. Is Britain's fuel crisis just the start of its Brexit worries? Panic buying has been a global theme throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. In September 2021, the latest wave of panic buying hit British shores. Long lines formed as people anxiously tried to fill up their cars upon hearing rumors of an impending fuel shortage. The panic buying only fueled the gas crisis further. Within days, gas stations across the UK were sold out. The British government has said there are ample stocks of fuel and has blamed the problem on two other factors. The majority of Britain's truck drivers were nationals of other European countries, and COVID-19 saw many return home. Additionally, Brexit has made coming back to the UK a less attractive proposition, resulting in a severe lack of drivers to transport fuel. To relieve the situation, the government has made plans to issue 5,000 emergency truck driver visas. However, until a longer-term solution is found, the truck driver shortage is bound to affect deliveries of more than just fuel, and the country may see problems with getting other goods to stores.
Research finds links between diet and mental well-being in children. New research has found that children who eat at least 5 portions of fruit or vegetables a day have better mental health. The study, carried out by the University of East Anglia in October 2017, was open to all schools in Norfolk, UK, but focused on secondary school students. The research team managed to collect data from around 9,000 students in 50 schools. It found that 3/4 of secondary school students ate fewer than 5 fruits or vegetables a day. The results also showed that these students had much worse mental health than their classmates who had a nutritious diet packed with fruit and vegetables. Another interesting finding was that nutrition had much more of an impact on emotional well-being than factors such as witnessing conflict between parents or even violence. As a result of these findings, experts are now recommending that schools should be encouraging students to eat a healthy and nutritious diet to help counter the stresses of modern school life.
Okay, everybody, it's time for us to discuss the contents of today's lesson without the crutch of the Chinese teacher. So first of all, we've got a news story coming from Britain, which is the UK. Britain technically is the island where England, Wales, and Scotland are, but Britain would also, the UK would include Northern Ireland and the Isle of Man.
Wales.
Wales, yes, of course, those
Scotland,
will all be included, along with Britain. But Britain is a general term for the UK. And, well, we've got a question in the title here. Is Britain's fuel crisis just the start of its Brexit worries? You've probably heard about Brexit in the news for quite some time. They were discussing what's going to happen to the UK when they leave the European Union, when Britain exits the European Union. And yes, indeed, they always thought that, oh, there's going to be, problems. They're going to try to trade through Ireland and stuff like that, or they're going to have new taxes on British goods into Europe and things like that. So, of course, these are the Brexit worries. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. But one thing that seems to have happened recently is there has been a fuel crisis, which people are blaming on Brexit and also on COVID-19.
If we didn't have other countries around the world having these same problems, I would say, maybe it is Brexit, but I don't think so. But that's what our article is suggesting. Brexit, they voted on leaving the European Union in 2016, and it's taken all these years to finally do it. So they are experiencing a fuel crisis, just as we are in the United States. They expect it to get worse in the winter. So hopefully everybody out there will be okay. I'm wondering if it will affect Taiwan because we buy our fuel from other countries, as you know.
It makes sense indeed. I think it has affected Taiwan because last time I fueled up my scooter, it was unusually expensive.
Oh, really?
So maybe prices have gone up. I actually didn't look at the pump to see if the price had gone up because my tank was quite empty at that time. Maybe it was just a coincidence, but yes, indeed.
Check on it.
Fuel could go up, but remember, everybody, you can do just like me and ride your bicycle most often, even in rainy weather. It can
Leg
be done.
power.
You bet. It's a lot of fun, although it is kind of dangerous. But we're talking about the UK and their fuel crisis. And panic buying has been a global theme throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. So panic buying, that's when people are afraid that something's going to run out.
TP.
Exactly, here in
Toilet
Taiwan.
paper.
That has happened a couple of times in the last couple of years. Toilet paper or tissue or whatever. There has been panic buying and hoarding. People go down and buy 5 or 6 packs or something, and they have to limit the amount of tissue you can buy when that does happen. So that's an example of panic buying, and it's been a global theme all through this pandemic. You've heard about this in all sorts of countries with various different kinds of commodities.
And the pandemic, of course, is just when a serious disease spreads throughout the world. And quite a few people are sick from that. It's a pandemic. Now, in September 2021, the latest wave of panic buying hit British shores. The shore, of course, is that area of land that's next to the ocean. Or it could be next to a lake. But that's just how we talk about something coming to that particular country. They're so close to the ocean that it would have to hit the shores. Now, the latest wave. Here, wave is being used as a measure word, wave of something. Well, here we're talking about a wave of panic buying. So there are different, moments when people get panicky and they start buying up certain products, especially toilet paper for some reason. And it's not just Taiwan. I know, talking to my family, that people were going crazy with toilet paper in the States months ago. It's kind of funny. So, yeah, the latest wave, the most recent occurrence of panic buying happened in September 2021. There were long lines formed as people anxiously tried to fill up their cars upon hearing rumors of an impending fuel shortage. Now, as you know, if you go to the gas station or go to get some petrol, as they call it in England, you're going to have to wait in line if there are a lot of people who want to fill up their cars. We go to the gas station to fill up the gas tank. Those are the phrases that we'll use. Fill up the gas tank or top it off, top it up. The Brits will say when they just want to make sure they got as much gas or petrol in their tank as possible. In case there is a fuel shortage, impending means something that is happening or might happen in the near future. So I could say, For example, if I have a dentist appointment tomorrow, I have an impending trip to the dentist, which I'm anxious about. Because you know I hate to go see the dentist. Now, the fuel could be, there are different types of fuels out there, as you know. We've got coal, we've got natural gas, we've got oil. Here we're talking about gasoline. But if you have a shortage, it means you don't have enough of something. You're lacking something. You're going to run out of it, or you've already run out of it. You can have shortages of lots of things. We often are, we have shortages of different products sometimes. When they become popular, there'll be a lack of something. You can't get your hands on it. You can't buy it.
Indeed. So, yes, if people are hoarding butter or something like that, then there could be a butter shortage. Or if people hear about, Nazis dressed as Eskimos and they're invading the USA, then people might They might start to hoard canned salmon. Then there will be a salmon shortage. But in this particular case, people were worried about an impending fuel shortage. They thought, oh, no, all of our gasoline is going to disappear. What are we going to do? We need to head down to the filling station and get some gasoline. Remember, in the UK, they're not going to say gas station there. If you ask where the nearest gas station is, they're going to look at you in a puzzled way. They probably know because they've watched American television. They probably know what that is, but still, that's not what they call it there. They'll say filling station or petrol station, but there will be lines outside of filling stations there in the UK because there's an impending fuel shortage. Hey, you better act now before there are no supplies. Otherwise, you're going to have to walk, and distances can be quite far in the UK, even though it is a relatively small country.
Now, look at this next sentence. It's kind of cute. Our author has used fuel in this particular sentence as a verb. So the panic buying only fueled the gas crisis further. That's clever writing, I would say. So to fuel something is to add something or to increase something so it becomes worse. Typically, we use it to talk about negative things. It fueled their argument, or it fueled the war, or it fueled the conflict between them. It made it even worse. So the panic buying does tend to make things worse. When people buy more than they need, it means there's less for everybody to share. So within days, gas stations across the UK were sold out.
Exactly. They sold out of gasoline. They did not have any more, so they had to put signs out on their driveways and say, sorry, we're out of fuel. You'll have to go someplace else.
And that just probably made other people even more panicked seeing the sign,
so
right?
They started going all over the place looking for a place that actually still had some.
Totally.
Well, the British government has said there are ample stocks of fuel and has blamed the problem on two other factors. The majority of Britain's truck drivers were nationals of other European countries, and COVID-19 saw many return home. So, yes, sometimes it's not a problem of lack of supply. They did have ample stocks of fuel. Ample means sufficient. There's enough of something. There's ample time to get to the movie, so don't be in such a rush. But here we've got ample stocks of fuel. Stocks just refers to supplies of fuel. They still had it in various tanks all over the country there, but they just didn't have enough truck drivers, or lorry drivers, as they would call them there in the UK.
Yeah, they have that weird word for trucks, the lorry. I wanted to talk about stock here for a minute, guys, because when we talk about a stock as in products of goods that are sold in stores, we use it in a non-count form. For example, we're out of stock. We're out of stock if they have sold out of something. Or maybe you're in a camera store, you wanted a particular brand. They could say that camera is out of stock. We've placed another order. We've pre-ordered, but they're not in yet. Or maybe you're talking about a particular store and introducing a tech store to your friend. And you say, oh, they carry a large stock of software. You might want to check them out. So stock is usually used in that non-count form. But here we've got different types of fuel. So I think they're making it plural because we've got different types of fuel rather than just one type of fuel. If it was just gas, we would say they're out of stock. We would never say they're out of stock of gasoline, though. They'd just say we're out of gasoline. So here I think they're using it as a measure word. But they've blamed the problem on two other factors. The majority of Britain's truck drivers were nationals of other European countries. Now, another way to say this would be citizens of other European countries. We typically use the word citizens more than nationals if we're American-speaking people, American English-speaking people. Tom and I are citizens of the United States. We live in Taiwan, but we're not citizens of Taiwan. We can't get a passport. So, yeah, these truck drivers were coming from other countries because before the Brexit issue emerged, people from all over Europe in the EU could live and work in whatever country they wanted to without any problems. But now the UK is saying, hey, we're our own country. You can't just come in from another country and cross the border without permission. So the majority of their truck drivers were from other countries, and COVID-19 saw many return home. You know, all these countries had lockdowns, and so you wouldn't want to stay in a country without your family, so people were going home to wait out the lockdown. Hopefully those lockdowns don't come around again.
And I hope those drivers were used to driving on the left side of the road because all other countries in Europe drive on the right side.
It's true. I know, for example, France, Germany, they all drive on the right side like we do.
Yeah, I'm guessing these drivers are probably from Eastern European countries, but I could be wrong on that. And additionally, Brexit has made coming back to the UK a less attractive proposition, resulting in a severe lack of drivers to transport fuel. So they not only left the UK because of COVID-19, but they also don't want to go back because, well, they probably have better opportunities back home or something like that. So the UK is kind of up the creek without a paddle. What are they going to do about their fuel? Now, to relieve the situation, the government has made plans to issue 5,000 emergency truck driver visas. So they want to relieve the situation. Here we've got relieve as a verb. That just means to lessen the severity of something. To make it less severe, you might want to take aspirin to relieve the pain of your headache, for example.
Yeah, Tom and I grew up with an advertisement on TV for some sort of aspirin. It was a headache reliever. That's what they would call it, a headache reliever. So if you relieve something, you make it less severe, less painful. To relieve the situation or help it out, they are thinking about issuing these emergency truck driver visas. Now, if you issue something, it's a word we use when someone's formally giving something out in an official way. For example, if you have the misfortune of getting pulled over by the police because you're driving recklessly or too fast, that cop might issue a ticket. Issue a ticket to you. Issue you a ticket. You can say that too. Also, you can use issue to talk about giving someone something or supplying someone something. Maybe you're in jail and you're issued a new uniform, a jumpsuit to wear in prison. I noticed here, I was looking this up, the British actually issue someone with something, whereas we do not. We issue something to someone, but they add that extra with. He issued him with a new jumpsuit. In American English, they issued him a jumpsuit. So there are differences, and if you're going to study in England, you're going to come across some of these little grammar differences once in a while, that's for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see if those emergency visas help out the problem, help relieve the situation.
Yep, it goes on to say, however, until a longer-term solution is found, the truck driver shortage is bound to affect deliveries of more than just fuel. Be bound to just means it's likely to, it's probably going to happen, and the country may see problems with getting other goods to stores. So fuel might not be the only issue. They might have trouble getting their scones and their Earl Grey tea, delivered to tea shops across the country. Okay, that brings us to the midway point in our lesson for today. It's time to move on to the second point, but first we're going to take a break.
Okay, guys, welcome back from the break. Our next story has a headline that reads, Research finds links between diet and mental well-being in children. I'm not surprised. I don't think we need research to know that sort of thing. Kids who are well-fed and taken care of always are more healthy, they're happier. It affects all of those things. I know it affects how much a child can learn in school. If they're hungry, they can't focus, and it's really difficult for them to be successful if they're not eating right. So they're doing some more research on this, though. Well-being is a word you see in the title. Well-being just means a state of being happy, healthy, successful. I could say exercise can increase a person's sense of well-being. You'll often see a sense of well-being, that phrase together.
Indeed, there's a link. There's a relationship between what you eat and if you're feeling good about yourself, basically. So new research has found that children who eat at least 5 portions of fruit or vegetables a day have better mental health. We often talk about children's physical health if they eat lots of fruits and vegetables and meat and stuff like that, and milk and dairy products and other things like that. But now we have a link between eating fruit and vegetables and mental health. So that's different. We're talking about their mental health, how good they feel about themselves, how happy they are, etc., etc.
That's true. So here it says the study was carried out by a university in Norfolk, UK. The university is named East Anglia. It happened in October 2017, and it was open to all the schools in that particular area, but they focused on secondary school students. Secondary school students are typically those that are out of elementary school, so it would be junior high and high school. They focused on those kids in particular. When you carry something out, it means you do something and you complete it. We often use this verb phrase to talk about carrying out experiments, carrying out investigations, or carrying out a task assigned to you by your boss at work. You carry it out, you do it, and you complete it.
Right, so here in the next paragraph it says the research team managed to collect data from around 9,000 students in 50 schools. Here we've got the word data. You can also pronounce it as data. It just means information, statistics, and things like that. They got this information from around 9,000 students from 50 different schools, and the research found that 3/4 of secondary school students ate fewer than 5 fruits or vegetables a day. Okay, that's a lot, 75% and or less than that, or perhaps more than that, did not have a lot of fruit or vegetables in their daily diet. So I guess they need to eat more fruit and vegetables in their diet, otherwise they're going to really suffer as a result of that.
I'm not sure I eat 5 different kinds of fruits and vegetables each day.
Yeah, it's kind of a high number, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'm better than other days. I've noticed if I just pick food up from outside, at a stand, sometimes I'm just getting noodles and a little bit of meat sometimes, not a lot of vegetables. So it is good to pick up more fruits and vegetables so that you'll have them to add to some of your meals. Maybe you need to supplement your meals with some fruits and vegetables. Also, I'm a big believer in vitamins, but if you can get your vitamins through food, it's better for you than just taking them in a pill form. I take a lot of pills for vitamins. So, yeah, it's just a lot better, a lot healthier if you can eat, fresh fruits and vegetables. Try to eat less processed food. And when you go out to eat outside, and it's so convenient here in Taiwan, I love that. It's cheap. Try to make sure you're getting some vegetables with all the noodles and rice that you're eating along with, whatever meal you're having. So 3/4, like Tom said, is 75%. That's a lot of kids who aren't getting enough fruits and vegetables. The results also showed that these students had much worse mental health than their classmates. So it affects us mentally, not just physically, but mentally, and that's a good point to bring up here. Some of their classmates had a nutritious diet packed with fruit and vegetables. We'll often use that word packed with something to mean there's a lot of it in there. So we want to get our meals packed with lots of fresh vegetables and fruit, if possible.
Indeed. So, of course, these students who did not eat those vegetables had poor mental health, which could refer to a lot of things. They couldn't remember information that they were studying. Maybe they have difficulty dealing with other people and things like that. So they had worse mental health than the classmates who actually had a nutritious diet, and that diet was packed with fruit and vegetables. So they had fewer mental issues, the ones who actually had more fruit and vegetables in their diet. Another interesting finding or another interesting result of the study was that nutrition had much more of an impact on emotional well-being than factors such as witnessing conflict between parents and even violence. So if you see your parents having an argument or even if you see them hitting each other and stuff like that, that can have an emotional impact. But hey, nutrition had more of an impact on your emotional well-being than that, I suppose, in the opposite direction. So if you had good nutrition in your diet, you had lots of vitamins and minerals and things like that, then you had pretty good well-being.
Now, as a result of these findings, the results from their study, experts are now recommending that schools should be encouraging students to eat a healthy and nutritious diet. I think that's always been the case, but I remember when I was in school, I tended to eat the cafeteria meals, which I hated. Every once in a while, they'd have some good meal, but there were some really scary-looking foods at the same time. Yeah, I wondered sometimes how much they really cared about the food they were giving the kids. So if parents can get involved and maybe get pack up a lunch for their kids to take to school, that's even better. I see a lot of moms and dads in Taiwan who put together, a little container for their kids to take to school from leftovers from their meal at dinner, which I think is nice. So just make sure that if you're a parent, that you're giving your kids those fruits and vegetables that are so essential for poor physical and mental health. That's huge. I think you could add emotional health there. You know, how they get along with their friends might have a lot to do with their nutrition as well. Now, Tom, when it says you're supposed to eat this to help counter the stresses of modern school life, what does counter here mean?
Well, it's kind of mean to compensate, basically. So if you have a lot of pressure at school, well, a nutritious diet can help you deal with that pressure. It can balance things out. It can counter, or it can work against the stress. So you have stress at one end, and then you fight against that stress using good nutrition. And this is good incentive for parents out there because, of course, you want your kids to succeed.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, being bullied and getting poor grades and not doing so well in PE.
School's hard.
It could improve in different areas, eating some decent food. So, yeah, don't eat that piece of pizza or those chicken nuggets or other crap like that. Get some nice leafy green vegetables and fruit, and hey, you'll be on your way to being a really nutritious, smart, and successful kid.
Well, that's our wish for all of you out there. We've got to wrap up. We're out of time. We hope you enjoyed our program today and learned a little bit. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.